Welcome back. You're watching NewsX. My name is Vineet Malhotra. Well, India has responded to Trump taunting it with imports from Pakistan, saying no comments and expressing belief in the relationship moving forward. The MEA also spoke of reports of stopping Russian oil imports, saying that the ministry is not aware of it and the fact that India looks at what's on the offer in the market. In his latest bid to reshape global trade in favor of the United States businesses, US President Donald Trump has signed a sweeping executive order imposing higher tariffs on several nations and the 27-member European Union, significantly escalating his administration's global trade offensive. Well, the order is set to take effect from the 7th of August. 7 days after its issuance, with the rates going up to 41%, India has been slapped with a 25% reciprocal tariff adjusted, which is one of the higher rates amongst key US trading partners. The White House justified the move by citing India's obnoxious non-monetary trade barriers, persistent trade imbalances, and strong energy and defense ties with Russia. This higher rate threat from Trump also included an unspecified penalty for India's purchases of Russian oil against the backdrop of the war in Ukraine. In a post on Truth Social, Trump said that India's tariffs were amongst the highest in the world. Well, let's talk about this. First up, we have someone special joining us on the program, Mr. Mohandas Pai, chairman of RN Capital, with us on the program. Mr. Pai, I appreciate you taking out the time, sir, and speaking with us. Well, this is a significant announcement by Donald Trump. Now, the fact of the matter is, do we look at this as an opportunity to better our ties with the Americans, or do you think, with the kind of language that has been used by Donald Trump, he leaves us, no option but to introspect?
Well, I think Donald Trump has been offensive against every country in the world. I don't think there's any country against whom he has not taken what we call in the local lingo panga. So, he's been offensive against everybody. He's offensive every single day. We must learn to ignore that, because ties with America are very important for us. They're the only superpower in the world. We have very good ties to America going back decades. And we must now sit down across the table and negotiate. And I think it's important to keep negotiating. But the important thing that we have to look for are two things. One, we must quickly get the free trade agreement done with EU, which can be a model agreement based on what we did with the UK. I think it's important to have the EU as a global trading partner. I'm sure the EU will be more interested now that they got to pay 15% for the honor of selling to America while opening the market at zero tariff to American companies. And two, Government of India should look at all barriers for Indian companies to export to the rest of the world. There are many issues in foreign exchange, many issues in customs, many issues in inward flow of raw material, etc., which are bothering Indian industry and are very painful. They become impediments in business. The cost of business is going up. And I think it's very important for Indian government to look at all these issues and ease up the pangs of business. In many, many areas for us to export, we have to import components, we have to import inputs, which have become very expensive because of inverted duty rates. All the inverted duty rates have to be removed so that we can export more to other countries or export more to the EU or to the UK. While we continue negotiation, India must take it as an opportunity to open up, to make us much more competitive, and to remove the shackles of the past, along with the negotiating with the US and talking to the EU and closing that free trade agreement.
Mr. Pai, I completely concur with you, sir, when you say that the Americans are a very important ally when it comes to trade. But Donald Trump has also gone on to use some non-charitable words against us. He's called Indian economy a dead economy, and he's also computed us with Pakistan. He's showing more of a leaning towards trading with Pakistan than us. And sir, we cannot let our ally Russia go just because Donald Trump doesn't like it.
Well, we must understand one important thing in the world. There's only one superpower. We must keep quiet. We must not trade abuses with America, with Donald Trump. That's what Prime Minister Modi has done. And I think that's very good, because there's no point getting personal with the US president, who is very whimsical and who is very different, a different kind of person. And whatever Donald Trump does with Pakistan is of no consequence, because Pakistan is a beggar nation. Their economy is almost, is in doldrums. They got huge debts. Nobody knows how they're going to come out. They'll suck up to anybody. and I think we should let it be and ignore that part of the American policy. Yes, the oil with Russia is something that we have to look at very, very carefully. But I don't know whether President Donald Trump understands that India exports a lot of oil. About 25% of all our oil imports go for exports, and most of the exports go to Europe. If Europe bans the ships, bans the oil and everything, prices in Europe will go up because the world will be short of supply. And Russia supplies half its oil to China. China is not going to stop it because China is negotiating. He's targeting India because India is a weak link there. And but the impact of India not getting Russian oil will be felt in Europe. We got enough sources for domestic consumption. And if the global oil goes up, consumers in America will be deeply hurt. Please remember that consumers in America will be deeply hurt. And that's not good for Donald Trump, because when the tariff hits America, inflation is supposed to go up. As it is, interest rates are very high. The EMI is hitting Americans, and Powell is not reducing the interest rates. And if oil prices go up, then I think there's going to be a double whammy. So I think we just have to watch. We have to negotiate. We have to keep quiet and close deals and try to become more competitive and remove the shackles and barriers on India's industry so that we become more competitive internally. I think it's a great opportunity to bring in reforms in our customs, in our way of doing business, especially the government thing. I mean, tax terrorism in India is so very high. They're issuing notices to everybody and harassing them so much. GST harassment has gone up. All this should stop. I think, the industry spends more time responding to all this tax terrorism and harassment. How will they spend time running the business and competing globally? Government of India should understand you can't keep oppressing local Indian businesses all the while too.
Mr. Pai, one last question before we let you go, sir. Sir, do you think this is an opportunity for India as well? India did shed a lot of its protectionist attitude, during the PV Narasimha Rao government. Do you think there are remnants still, a part of the Indian economy that should be let go? It will, in fact, take the bounds off the Indian economy.
Yes, I think the mindset in Delhi, especially in the government, is that of control, command and control. Not with Prime Minister Modi, who was trying to bring in some of the ministers, but the bureaucrats is command and control. You can see that every time something goes wrong, they bring in draconian laws. In the new income tax bill, now they want you to hand over your password for your digital media and social media to the income tax officer if you ask it. And the way it is structured is that one officer will ask another officer for approval, and both are insiders reporting to each other otherwise, and both of them will say, we want all these, they'll come and harass you. One more harassment has come. The finance minister has given more powers to the tax authorities in Delhi to harass us in the last 7 years than any finance minister that I know of. I've seen so much of this power, and tax disputes have gone up manifold in the last 10 years, from about 4.5 lakh crores to 12.5 lakh crores. We got about 25 lakh crores money stuck up in tax disputes, out of which 12.5 lakh crores is incapable of being collected. It is there in the budget documents. All that harassment should stop. We have to become competitive. We need policy certainty. The India risk premium should come down. For foreign investors to invest in India, there's a large India risk premium because of policy uncertainty, change of policy, etc. All this should come down. Inverted duty should come down. Many MSMEs are suffering because they got huge inverted duty accumulation for GST. What will they do? They can't get it back because the duty is inverted. It's all the money is stuck. They won't get a refund. I think the government of India must clean up its act, reduce the cost of doing business in India, reduce the hassles of doing business in India, so we can take this opportunity to become more competitive. Now we have to pay about $6 to $10 billion extra money to the US on tariffs, over and above the 10%. That's what it's going to cost us, possibly more. We must negotiate with the US, and President Trump keeps talking about unnecessary tariffs. What are the unnecessary tariffs? He talks about Harley Davidson. I mean, the Harley Davidson 150% duty was outrageous, right? And we put 160% on fully assembled cars. And when you have a free trade agreement, you must reduce that so that, when the cars come, they'll have a duty plus the local duties that all of us pay. And if more luxury cars are sold, we can have the manufacturing here. I think it's very important. There's no way to control. Look at what China has done with the auto industry. BYD has become a global company. We must aim for our companies to be global companies by removing all the restrictions that are there to make us much more competitive. I think a lot of work is there for the government. and they must work with industry to match this. We must also negotiate the trade agreement with ASEAN, where ASEAN has become a dumping ground for Chinese goods to come here. Maybe we should put that 40% duty that Trump puts for goods that come from other countries and use the local country to export to the US.
Fair enough,
Remember,
sir.
it's 40% extra duty. We must put that on Chinese imports coming from ASEAN. Please remember, in trade, China is the biggest barrier for us. We have a $110, $120 billion trade deficit with China. And that is still coming in through Vietnam, coming into Southeast Asia. I think a lot of work has to be done, and government has to take quick decisions to make us more competitive, negotiate, and
Fair
close
enough,
out
sir.
great opportunity.
Mr. Pai, always a pleasure having you, sir. Thank you so much for speaking with us. Thank you.